The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. And our viewers 100% agree that ketchup belongs on a hot dog. And I ask that because we're doing the White Sox again today. Hello, how are you? My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this third day of June 2025. We go back to 1956. I forget the date. We'll get to it in a moment. For a big one between the first place Chicago White Sox and the fourth place Boston Red Sox, who keep hanging in there. Tom Brewer going for Boston, and I think it's Jim Wilson going for the White Sox. And the poll question today is, ketchup on a hot dog, yes or no? Now, I know that the two people who have answered so far are with me and grew up in the great Northeast, and we put ketchup on our hot dogs. When Paul puts mustard on a hot dog, I always think of honey. Oh, it's always honey mustard. Interesting. If I do mustard at all, it's Goulden's Spicy Brown. Anyway, that's enough food. So it is the Red Sox and the White Sox next, as Retro Sports Network presents Major League Replay 1956. Today, from Comiskey Park in Chicago, Illinois, it is the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalAdvice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. Mike in the truck, how are you? Jim Wilson gets the start for the 51-37 Chicago White Sox. He's 34 years old, over from the Baltimore Orioles, making his 12th start with the Chi Sox at 4-3 in a 4.79 ERA. Wilson last pitched on the 23rd, so 4 days ago. This is July 27th, 1956, in a 3-2 win over the Kansas City Athletics. 9 innings, 143 pitches, 10 hits. 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. 71 and a third for Jim, 78 hits, 41 runs, 38 earned, 8 homers. He's walked 32 and struck out 32, even Steven. The real poll question should have been Hines or Hunts. As a kid, as someone has already voted no, I was a Hunts guy. But as someone who does the shopping on the Instacart, we always buy Hines. Billy Goodman leads off at second base. Billy Klaus at third will bat second. You know, when you go to McDonald's, they don't give you, if it's Hines, it's not marked as Hines. In left field is Ted Williams. He'll go third. Mickey Vernon cleans up at first. Jackie Jensen in right will bat fifth. That's a pretty good middle of the lineup. Timmy Pearsall in center will go sixth. Pete Daly is your catcher. He'll bat seventh. Don Budden at short, batting eighth. And Tom Brewer gets the call on the hill. He'll bat ninth. Defensively for Chicago, Fred Hatfield, maker of fine pork products, sixth at third. Louis Aparicio, a 10 at short, a 10 and a 10 at short. Nellie Fox, a 9 and a 10 at second. Dave Philly is a 5 at first. Benny Minoso, a 9 and a 7 in left. Larry Doby, a 7 and a 3 in center. Jim Rivera, a 6 and an 8 behind the plate. Sherm Lawler, your all-star catcher, he's an 8 and a 7. And Wilson is a 6 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. Goodman at 261, no homers, and 28 RBI. So, yes, technically, all we buy is Heinz. Because I realize that because we got some Burger King, and I believe the ketchup packets were marked as Heinz. Pitch to Goodman. Billy hits a slow chopper down to Fox at second as we get underway. Over to first on this Friday night, and Goodman beat it out. How about that? 83 degrees, winds left to right at 3, a veritable zephyr of a wind. Billy Klaus at 271, 6 homers and 40 RBI. Most of the restaurants you go into, When's the last time you saw Hunt in a restaurant? I've had some pretty good homemade ketchup in some restaurants. Pitched to Klaus, walked him. So first and second, Wilson not getting on to a good start. For Ted Williams, hitting .319, 12 homers, and 42 RBI. To be fair, the folks in Chicago really do doll up their hot dogs. Yes, they do. Hoping at some point to hit the new hot dog place that's downtown, but you got to be outside to eat. Peppers and that. I suppose for me, if I'm out with a hot dog, pitch to Williams is a ground ball to Fox. This might be two. Nelly goes to Aparicio for one, back to Philly for two. So a 4-6-3 double play, 2 out, and Goodman moves on to third. Nelly just an all-time great defender. Mickey Vernon at .252, 5 homers and 27 RBI. If I'm dolling up getting a hot dog out, it's ketchup, mustard, relish, and onion. I'm not a huge chili dog fan. I'll eat them, but my wife is a sauerkraut fan. Vernon at .252, 5 homers and 27 RBI. Goodman on third. The pitch to Mickey is a fly ball to right. Rivera going back and will make the catch, and that will do. Red Sox get a hit. They leave on a runner. The double play by Williams. Half an inning in the books, no score. What's the difference between ketchup and catsup? Wanted Guido Sarducci as the pops. Oh, as the Pope. No, we can't have the nice things. Classic Polish mustard. Kozusko Classic Polish mustard. Oh, I bet that sounds good. They do that to make the, forget what they call it, the pizza. C. Montgomery Burns was confused by ketchup. Smithers, what's the difference between ketchup and catsup? I don't know, sir. Tom Brewer making his 20th start of the year. He's having a very good year ERA-wise. 9-8 with a .266. And that .266 is good for fourth. He's 25, throws a fastball 86 and a ground ball pitcher. On 5 days rest, a loss to the Tigers on July 22nd, 8 innings, 124 pitches. He lost throwing a 2-hitter, but he gave up a run. He walked 2 and struck out 3. That is the very definition of a tough luck loss. 159 innings for Tom, 117 hits, 57 runs, 47 earned, just 4 homers. He has walked 80 and struck out 86. The White Sox have beaten him twice. On the year, lineup for Chicago, Jim Rivera leads off in right. Nellie Fox at second will bat second. Minnie Minoso in left will go third. Larry Doby in center cleans up. Dave Philly at first will bat fifth. Sherm Lawler behind the plate will go sixth. Fred Hatfield at third will bat seventh. Louis Aparicio at short goes eighth. And Jim Wilson will bat ninth on the mound. Brewer can give you 130 pitches. Defensively for Boston, Ted Williams a 4 and a 4 in left, Jimmy Pearsall a 9 and an 8 in center, Jackie Jensen a 7 and a 7 in right. Billy Klaus is a 6 at third, Don Budden a 6 and a 7 at short, Billy Goodman a 5 and a 7 at second, Mickey Vernon a 7 at first, Pete Daly a 3 and a 4 behind the plate, Brewer an 8 on the mound with a .988 fielding percentage. Yeah, good rotate. Yeah, he was solid. I actually asked that question of Lisa. Did you know that Rivera at .258, 3 homers and 30 RBI? Years ago, back when the show was good, they got Paul McCartney and Linda to come on and do a guest cameo spot, and they agreed to do so only if they made Lisa a vegetarian, and that's why she is a vegetarian. Why does a hot dog buns come in packages of 10 and hot dogs in packages of 6 or 8?
Stephen Wright, the world may never know. Pitch to Rivera. That is hit hard over the mound. Goodman throws it to first. One away. Nellie Fox at 300. 4 homers and 42 RBI. And you never heard of... Oh, Tom Brewer. Was he in one of your PCL things that you're doing? Pitch to Fox. That's a bunt. Daly throws it down to Goodman covering, and Nelson is retired. Benny Minoso at 278, 15 homers and 64 RBI. My guess is that usually if you're buying a package of hot dogs, you're buying and doing buns, you're buying more than one package. Just saying. If we do them the once or twice a year at home, we don't do buns. Pitch to Minoso. Minnie swings. That's a ground ball left side, a base hit. So Minnie is around first. Now I got to pay attention here because I'm managing the Red Sox. For Larry Doby, hitting 277, 10 homers and 49 RBI. This is Comiskey Park, circa 1960. Throw to first, and Minoso is back. Doby digs in, no score, bottom of the first. Brewer deals, and that is a chopper first base side. Vernon with the V has it, takes it to the bag, and that will do for the White Sox in the first. No runs, a hit, no errors. After one, no score. The no's are catching up on the hot dog question. So if you voted no, why? Why is ketchup so offensive on a hot dog? It'll be Jensen, Pearsall, and Daly for the Red Sox in the second. Jackie at 283, 15 homers and 66 RBI. Oh, okay there, Brent. I think it's a regional thing now that John and Brent have chipped in. In the Northeast, we put ketchup on dogs. And so what do you two put on your dogs? Pitch to Jensen. Jackie swings, and that will be a ground ball down the line and right. Rivera's going to have to go get it. Jackie has extra bases. He's in there with his 11th double, and the Red Sox start the second with a runner in scoring position. Ketchup on steak? No. Well, it depends on the steak. If it's like a cube steak, maybe. Jimmy Pearsall hitting 268, 9 homers and 39 RBI. A1 on a steak. Mustard is the best. Then onions and chili. And no ketchup on a steak, Andrew says, and no ice with a good bourbon. Pitch to Pearsall. In the center field, Doby moves over, makes the catch, and Jackie has to go back to first. You also eat processed meat in a rubbery pink casing that wouldn't consider a hot dog. That's true. You must have some good butchers down there, or good meat packing plants. Pete Daly at 296, 2 homers and 10 RBI. A couple blocks from here used to be the McKenzie meat packing plant. It's now senior housing. And they also would do maple cured hams, and I guess every once in a while you can smell maple in the building. And so natural casing, so pork and beef, and a lamb casing that you put on your toppings of choice. Red snappers are and I eat those. You're not a fan of those? I love the natural casing dogs. Pete Daly at 296, 2 homers and 10 RBI. Popped up left side. Hatfield with his pork tenderloin will make the catch. And there's 2 out for Budden, hitting 239, 5 homers and 42 RBI. There's a hot dog chain local to Albany that puts cheese sauce and a meat sauce on their dogs. Michigan sauce, I believe, is native out of Plattsburgh, Paul. That's true. Hot dogs have 5,000 grams of salt on them. Absolutely. Yep, Michigan's. But there's a couple places that will do Michigan's. Again, that's more of an older thing. It's essentially just a chili sauce. Pitch to Budden. There is a ground ball to Aparicio behind the bag at second, over to first, and the Red Sox will strand Jackie Jensen. We have played an inning and a half. Red Sox get a hit. They've left on 2, and there's no score. I think if you went to Al's French Fries, you might be able to get a couple Michigan dogs. Dave Philly hitting .266, a homer, 3 triples, and 35 RBI. Hot dogs are not cheap. Philly, a slow ground ball to Vernon. Mickey throws to Brewer covering for the out. But as Zoidberg from Futurama said, nothing beats a good turkey dog, especially if it's a turkey Dodger dog. Yasiel Puig says, good. Sherm Lawler here with 1 out in the second. Hitting .290, 3 homers, and 37 RBI. There's a hot dog cart in Walpole, New Hampshire, okay? You can get chocolate and peanut butter. Why? Why? Ugh. The cheaper hot dogs have undermined ingredients. Anyway, I think, so for those of us in the Northeast, we had Mackenzie's, and if you lived in the Albany area, you had Tobin's First Prize. And so they were more of a thing of a local pride thing, different spices for different parts of the country. In New York, in the city, you got Nathan's, which are a very good garlicky dog. And of course, if you're into all beef, Hebrew Nationals, which are also very good. Pitch to Lawler is a ground ball to third. Klaus across the way to Vernon for the out. John, I had a dream about you. I'll talk about that in a minute. First time I ever had when we were visiting family in Conway, New Hampshire. We had to drive back to Maine to go bowling. First candlepin bowling and then eating a red snapper. You're not a fan of candlepin either, huh? Fred Hatfield hitting .230, 2 homers, and 13 RBI. 2 out, bottom of the second, no score. Red Sox and White Sox from Comiskey. Ground ball to short, Budden over to first. For the out. I have started to watch Candlepin. That's fun. The big difference, besides the size of the pins, is that after your first ball, they don't clear off the deadwood. You got to bowl with it. Use it to your advantage. Tom Brewer at 179 and 3 RBI. Brewer chops this one to third. Hatfield across the way to Philly for the out. 1 out for Billy Goodman. No score. Top of the third. Opening 9 for Wilson. 38 pitches. 2 in the third. 2 hits and a walk. Goodman had one of those hits. Yeah, chocolate peanut butter on a hot dog. Then again, I'm not a fan of salted caramel either. Fly ball left field. Bonoso going back. Billy got all of that one. It's a big ballpark, and Minnie was able to track it down. 2 out for Billy Klaus, who walked his first time up. John's nephew suggested it, who lives there. When we arrived, I thought it was an episode of the X-Files. Scully there. You know what? They are indeed out there, John. You just need to know where not to look. So when Paul and I go out to lunch this summer, I'll have to get him something with salted caramel. Klaus walked his first time up. That's up the middle. Fox has it over to Philly for the out. And the Red Sox go quietly in the third. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 2.5, no score. My wife would agree with you, Paul. Aparicio, Wilson, and Rivera to face Brewer, who got through the first 2 innings on 17 pitches. Louis at 245, 2 homers, and 34 RBI. Who's the biggest hot dog in baseball today? Good question. At the Freiburg Fair. All right, John. At the Freiburg Fair, you can even get, seriously, Moxie jelly. That'd be eaten like a thick licorice. Hot Sarah knows what's good. Yes, she does. That's why we've been together 29 years. Pitch to Aparicio. Louis strikes out. First one for Brewer. A 1-2 chase. 2 out for Wilson. 6 for 27. A home run and 4 RBI. So now that John can't respond, I had a dream about him the other day. He was showing me a baseball game. And I was playing pinball with an uncle of mine. Don't ask. And my uncle kept changing the rules for the pinball. But the baseball game that John was playing only dealt with fractions. So you had to know how fractions worked to play the game. Pitch to Wilson. Struck him out. That's 2 for Brewer. A 2-2 curve inside. Got him. So opening 9 for Brewer. A neat and tidy 28 pitches. 2 2/3. A hit and 2 strikeouts. Who would be the hot dog in baseball today? They're all such good boys. For some reason, yep, Soto came to my mind too, Paul. That's the biggest hot dog, and I don't know why he jumps out for me. Pitch to Rivera. There is a base hit left field. And that will be the second hit for the White Sox. Nelly has a 9-game hitting streak. Fox is 0 for 1. I'd say in football it's Mr. Kelsey, wouldn't you? Machado. Tatis. Yep, all good choices. And Reggie would still say Reggie. Throw to first. Rivera is back, but probably more tempted now to go. Throw down the button. Rivera goes and steals his 10th of the year. He stole 20 in real life. So runner in scoring position, 2 out for Fox, and a 1-ball count. Ground ball to Goodman, over to first, and that will retire the side. So the White Sox threaten, but they do not score. We've played 3 quick innings. After 3, no score. Let's say Kachuk in hockey. Ted Williams 0 for 1. He's grounded into a double play. Fly ball, right field. In comes Rivera. Out goes Fox. Rivera will make the catch. 1 out. Mickey Vernon is 0 for 1. Paul, my wife would agree with you, Paul, about kimchi on a hot dog. I'll let you two try it out. Pitch to Vernon. Mickey hits a fly ball to right. Rivera going back. Vernon, oh, that ran out of room or real estate, and Rivera makes the catch. 2 out. Thing died out there. The wind has died, which is unusual for Chicago, and it's 80 degrees. Jackie Jensen doubled and was stranded his first time up. Ground ball past Philly, and that's another base hit. Gets past Rivera. Jensen actually stopped and watched for a second. He's got 2. Does he have enough speed for 3 to throw to third? Is not in time, and Jackie has his 7th triple of the year. So let's see if the Red Sox strand him in scoring position the 2nd straight time. Not that I'm bitter or anything. Jimmy Pearsall is 0 for 1. David C., how are you? Another question for me, Todd, since the Baseball Hall of Fame has changed its standards, would you include a player with about 2,600 hits and a lifetime average of 296? Who are we trying to get in the hall? Who are you trying to get me to say yes to, Todd? Pitch to Pearsall. Struck him out. And that will take care of the Red Sox in the top of the fourth. They get a hit. Jensen is stranded in scoring position again. And after 3.5, no score. The standings as we play these games today. The White Sox a game up on Cleveland. 2.5 up on Detroit. The Red Sox 3.5. Cat screaming at the door. And the Yankees are 5.5. They're finally 3 games over 500, but they're in 5th. And then Balmer, Washington, and waiting for Lenny Dawson. In the National League, Brooklyn, NBC News is getting ready to call this race. They are 63-27. They've won 63 of their first 90. The Rockies, I don't think are going to get 63 if you gave them 190. Milwaukee 10 back, then the Redlegs, the Giants, Cardinals, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Chicago. Brooklyn, Chicago tomorrow. I would have probably included that person before, at least give it a thought. I'm dying to know who you're thinking of, Todd. Minnie Minoso singled his first time up. I wonder if the Braves will have a better record than the AL winner. Oh, and this one? Milwaukee would be in first place, Matt. And it would not surprise me if the Braves would have won the American League. Minoso draws the walk. Are we going with like a Mattingly or who are we going with here? Brewer, by the way, 19 batters, 38 pitches, 3 hits. Oh, never mind. Minoso wasn't leading off. Dobie's 0 for 1. Andrew's back. I don't know who. Andrew Jones should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll give you that. Pitch to Dobie. Throw down to Minoso to get Minoso, and Minnie has his 7th steal. I'll be surprised, okay? We're not talking George Hendrick here. So 1 ball count, 2 stolen bases now for Chicago. Julio Franco. Oh, yeah, because he played for... The thing against Franco is he played forever. And because of the way the birth certificate's down there, I bet he was 4 or 5 years older than what his birth certificate said. I bet he played into his 50s. Pitch to Dobie, the 1-0 is a ground ball to short. Budden throws over to Vernon. And Minoso holds with 1 out for Dave Philly, who's 0 for 1. I mean, if Sutton got in... Why not Franco? The thing is, outside of his the numbers there, but outside of his longevity, would you consider him to be one of the greatest players of all time? Pitch to Philly is a ground ball past Goodman. That should score Minoso. Pearsall uncorks a throw to the plate. Minnie is out. They got him. What a throw by Jimmy Pearsall. And we remain scoreless here in the 4th. So, Philly on first for Lawler. The thing is that those guardians of the statistics for 1,000 years lied to you. It has never been the same game between eras. And that's what we all believed growing up, is that the exchange rate from 1935 was the same as it was in 1975. And that's just never been the case. That's not a knock on Franco. It all rings different. And today, players aren't going to win 300. Pitchers aren't going to win 300. Their arms aren't going to let them strike out 3,000. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be included. How about Munson? I think that Munson should be in, absolutely. Lawler is 0 for 1. Pitch from Brewer. Sherm, ground ball past Goodman. That's going to go all the way to the wall. That was a bounder that just kind of found real estate. Philly around third. He's going to score. Lawler is into second, and it's 1-0 Chicago on Sherm's 9th double of the year. Now, when you have a case like Munson, where his career wasn't finished, I think you have to give special consideration. And I think the other thing with Munson, Hatfield is 0 for 1, is that they thought enough of him as a person to make him captain of the New York Yankees. In fact, I'm sure most of you knew this, that he was the first captain of the New York Yankees officially since Lou Gehrig pitched to Hatfield. Struck him out. That's 3 for Brewer, and we're through 4. Got him to chase a 1-2 fastball. Chicago gets on the board first. A run on 2 hits. They've left on 3, and after 4, it's 1-0 Shy Sox. So Daly, Budden, and Brewer to face Wilson here in the 5th. See, the thing is with Mattingly, Paul says the following is his opinion, and it's not necessarily the opinion of Retro Sports Network. Why keep the steroid players out of the hall when they let them in from the 70s and 80s on uppers? And yeah, oh, absolutely, I'd agree with that. How you doing, Scotty? See, I would, again, outside of 1 year, was Mattingly the best first baseman in baseball? Daly is 0 for 1. The rap against, Mattingly never played in a World Series. He's certainly the greatest Yankee never to do that. Pitch to Daly is a fly ball left field. Bonoso will make the catch. 1 out. Certainly can make that now with Aaron Judge making the World Series. Budden is 0 for 1. The argument, against Mattingly would be by 1990, the Yankees were trying to replace him. There's a ground ball, third base side. Fair ball! Bonoso wasn't sure. Budden's on his way to second for the double. That's his 27th double of the year. Hatfield should have made it. And I think Minnie was looking up to see if it was going to be a fair ball, and it was. Here's Tom Brewer. He's 0 for 1. Not Button here. Was Roland the best third baseman each year he played, or Maurer the best catcher? See, I would give a better argument for Keith Hernandez than I would for Don Mattingly. I mean, Hernandez's defense wasn't... I mean, again, you're arguing apples and apples here. Isn't Tommy John surgery a type of performance enhancement? Yes. I mean, I'll give you the Harold Baines argument. You can make a strong argument that Harold Baines should be in the Hall of Fame. I understand why he's not a slam dunk. So my question back, if Don Mattingly played in Chicago or Houston, would he still be as highly regarded? Brewer's going to swing here. He's 0 for 1. And that's a ground ball in the hole and right. Rivera has it, and Budden will hold. So runners on the corners, 1 out for Billy Goodman. Wilson, 18 batters, 73 pitches, 4 1/3, 5 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. Goodman 1 for 2 with a single. If Mattingly was there in 96 when they won the World Series, absolutely. But, so who was more valuable to his team? Dale Murphy, Andrew Jones, or Don Mattingly? I would put Mattingly third on that list. John pulls over and writes, "First, unless you know what I look like and I don't, in your dream I hope I look like a young Robert Redford." I don't believe I saw you. We talked, and you pointed at things, but I don't remember what you looked like. Goodman 1 for 2 with a single. In the left center, Doby makes the catch. Budden will tag. And with 2 outs, going to try it. Doby does not have that great of an arm. Here comes the throw of the plate. Don is in there, and we're tied at 1. So that worked. Here's Klaus, who's 0 for 1 with a walk. So 1-1. Brewer held it first. And again, that's not trying to poo-poo on Mattingly. I mean, Dwight Evans, I think, should be in the Hall of Fame. I think you could maybe make an argument for Al Oliver being in the Hall of Fame. Pitch to Klaus. There's a ground ball to Wilson. We'll throw to Philly. First base side of the rubber, and that will take us to the break, I believe. Yes, halfway home. It's been a good one so far. Run on 2 hits and no errors. Red Sox and White Sox, 1-1. Who joined us late? Where the hell have you been? Mike in the truck. Red Sox a run on 5 hits and no errors. White Sox a run on 4 hits and no errors. Chicago got on the board first. Sherm Lawler in the 4th doubled home Dave Philly to make a 1-0 Chicago. And then in the 5th, Billy Goodman with a sac fly to tie the ball game at 1. Tom Brewer, a 4-hitter through 4, a run, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Jim Wilson, a 5-hitter through 5, a run, a walk, and a strikeout. Oh, by the way, Scotty, before I forget, Dodgers tomorrow, noon Eastern. High Pocket Kelly is in the hall. Nope, and again, a lot of that's the old Veterans Committee. Absolutely. In the early days of the hall, 20, 30 years, there are guys that got in because they were great teammates and were the result of the pressure of other Hall of Famers. Absolutely. Ross Youngs comes to mind. He was beloved by Mathewson and McGraw. Yep, it was an old boys club. Sutton talked about it on a broadcast once, Jim Brown says, and said 300 wins for a pitcher and 400 should get you in. It's easy for him to say that because he's in the hall. And again, you can make a solid argument for Don Sutton. He was a money pitcher for a long time. But if you needed someone to win you a ball game in that era, is he who you're going to go with? You're going to take him over Seaver? Aparicio 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Yeah, and Dave Kingman, no way he's a Hall of Famer. The opposite was Joe Morgan, who said no one should get in. And Morgan, in my mind, is a Hall of Famer. Pitch to Aparicio, and he drops one down for a bunt. Daly throws it down to Goodman, and Louie is out by an eyelash. A good play. Here's Jim Wilson. He's 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. I think in this day and age, with everything that's available to you as a fan, as far as archive broadcasts and stuff, you know, who's in your own personal Hall of Fame as opposed to who's actually enshrined. Wilson hits this one in the right center for a single, and so the pitcher gets a hit, 5th hit for both teams. Rivera 1 for 2. Jim is singled and stolen a base. Brewer opening 18, 60 pitches, 4 and a third, 5 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And Gorman Thomas, I mean, you can make, there's the argument of small hall or big hall. Then again, is the Hall of Fame simply a place where we enshrine people with gaudy numbers? Pitch to Rivera. Struck him out. That's 4 for Brewer. Or do we, maybe not the character thing, because not everyone is a Boy Scout that's in the Hall of Fame. Look at someone like Steve Garvey, who played in over 1,000 consecutive games, had very good seasons for the Dodgers, played a lot in the playoffs. Not a fan of Greg Nettles. When you watched him play, Nellie Fox 0 for 2, he was a surefire Hall of Famer. Pitch to Fox, popped up right side, Vernon, into foul territory. Mickey will make the... No, it can't get there. So, a full count now to Fox. Don Sutton was also a regular panelist on Match Game. Yes, he was. Gorman played like he was in a softball beer league, too. There is a base hit the opposite way. Williams will grab it. Wilson on his way to third. So Jim is going to need the oxygen tent. 2 out for Minoso. Minnie is singled and walked. Runners on the corners. 2 out, bottom of the 5th. Daly and Brewer have a word. There is a chopper down the line past Klaus. Wilson will score. Fox is on his way to third. He'll ground third and score. Minoso clears the bases with a double. And it's 3-1 Chicago. And for Minnie, he's now driven in 66. Larry Doby is 0 for 2. Billy Wagner is an interesting argument. He's getting in this year. He just, no. There's just nothing there that stands out outside that he was he pitched for 1 inning. He was good at what he did, but there wasn't really any moment in your mind that sticks out and said, does that mean he doesn't deserve enshrinement? I'm not saying that. 70s Dodgers were strong most years, and outside of Sutton, I'm not sure who would get in. You can make a case for Steve Garvey, I think, really. Lopes played forever. Replay Dugout says, I've been trying to play more action PC baseball. I've been using my video. Oh, thank you, to understand how to get around better. Hope they're helpful. Tommy John. The Penguin, again, there are spark plugs that motivate machines that get you to deep in the postseason. Pitch to Doby. There's a line drive. Foul, first base side. Somebody from Vatican City made that catch. It's 0-2. Doby hits a high ground ball to short. Budden over to Vernon. And Larry is retired. And that will do. After 5, White Sox go ahead. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. We go to the 6th, Chicago 3, Boston 1. So Williams, Vernon, and Jensen to face Wilson here in the 6th. Ted 0 for 2. He's grounded into a double play. The Penguin is a favorite of a lot of people. So every time that Gardner talks about that inside the park home run, you smile. It was Say that had the walk-off pennant-winning hit in 77, right? Teddy ballgame, by the way, a 15-game hitting streak. And there's a ground ball to Fox. Cuts it off. Throws to first. Williams retired. I think it's important for teams to have their own Hall of Fame, because what matters to you doesn't necessarily matter to anybody else. Vernon, by the way, 0 for 2. Does Mark McGwire deserve to be recognized? Yes. In Oakland and St. Louis. But that's about it. Pitch to Vernon. Right field, Rivera. Has it for the out, 2 away for Jackie Jensen, who's doubled and tripled. He's 2 for 2. In your 41 replay, the Wonder Dog had a steep DiMaggio streak stopped at 15. It was Ken Keltner who robbed him of a couple hits in game 57. Wasn't it like the next day he started another long streak? I mean, DiMaggio's 41 was incredible. Fly ball opposite way into left. Back goes Minoso. Minnie to the wall. Makes the catch, and that will do. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 5.5, Chicago 3, Boston 1. Herboski will be entering the Cardinals Hall of Fame despite turning his back on them. As a broadcaster, too, right? Dave Philly 1 for 2. Be Philly, Lawler, and Hatfield. Dave has scored a run. That is up the middle for a base hit. Here's Sherm Lawler. Sherm doubled. RBI. M's are retiring 51 twice. Yeah, I saw that. Once for Ichiro and once for Randy Johnson. But so they're not doing it together? That's too bad. How is the relationship between Randy and the Mariners, who traded him before they thought he got too old? Pitch to Lawler, runner on first, fly ball right. Jensen moving over will make the catch, and it's foul, so he did not make the catch. It goes out of play. And the old style vendor made that grab. 0-2 the count to Lawler. Philly on first, that's hit into right center. Pearsall makes the catch, and Philly goes back. Splender's average creeping up towards 400 in your strat replay of 41. Okay. Paul, he's batting 458. Hal Trotsky is hitting 460. Nice. John puts ketchup and mustard on his dogs. We have evenly split the country. 53-47 there. Only mustard for Matt. Hatfield 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Up the middle, Goodman can't get there. And neither can Budden, and the White Sox have first and second with one out. 41 is an interesting season. It is underrated. I actually have it for Strat and for Action PC. Aparicio 0 for 2 with a K. So if I throw out the name Joe Namath, pitch to Aparicio, is a ground ball up the middle. Budden over to Vernon, and Louis is retired. Hatfield to second, Philly to third. 2 out for the pitcher. Jim Wilson 1 for 2. A single, run scored, and a strikeout. And I think the overall consensus for Namath is that he's overrated. I'm not going to argue that too much. But he shouldn't be in the Hall. And for that, I'll draw the line. If it wasn't for 3 reasons. First, the knee injuries literally shut down his career. I'm not sure he ever played pro ball with a healthy knee. Pitch to Wilson. That is into left center field. Pearsall moving back. Jimmy will make the catch, and we are through 6. White Sox threaten but do not score. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. They've left on 6. We go to the 7th, 3-1 Chicago. Pearsall, they expect him to bunt. He's not. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Then Daly and Budden. So here's the things that. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, he was the first quarterback ever to have a 4,000-yard year. Now, Gardner had a 4,000-yard year last year in his 50s for the Patriots. So 4,000 is so common now, but it was unheard of in 1968. And also, he was the quarterback that engineered at the time the biggest upset in pro football history. The AFL dethroning the NFL in Super Bowl III. Pitch to Pearsall, and Jimmy draws the walk.
Need to have a perfect season of winning a Super Bowl too. We can let Joey Chestnut decide that. Yeah.
No, there's no. It's the 56 Dodgers. Sorry, they're on tomorrow. They face the Cubs.
Onions and cream cheese. Ooh, that sounds good. Almost like a bagel. Called a Seattle dog.
Pete Daly 0 for 2. There is a ground ball to first. Philly has it. Takes it to the bag himself. Pearsall moves up to second. Daly's out. If I was going to cheat, man, I would use the 53 Dodgers because I think they were the best of that bunch. Don Budden has a double and a run scored. He's 1 for 2. One out, top the 7, 3-1 Chicago. Struck him out. A full count off-speed pitch, 2 away for Brewer. Pitch count wise, he's fine, so we'll leave him in 1 for 2. Lawler and Wilson have a word. Pitch to Brewer. Tom pops it up. Lawler doffs the mask into foul territory and won't get there.
Namath probably, John says, puts up Hall of Fame numbers if he played in the 80s. He was Marino in the fouts of his time. Absolutely. If you're looking for members, looking at numbers, John Brody should be.
Brody got the 49ers to the NFC Championship game twice.
Do I roll and input? No, this is all done on the computer, John.
I do that in Strat, but Action PC is a closed engine. Pitch to Brewer is a fly ball to right. Rivera will move over and make the catch. Stretch time, 3-1. No runs, no hits, no errors for Boston in the 7th. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors overall, and they've left on 5. White Sox, 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors, and they left on 6.
Yeah, he has mentioned that he is thinking of doing that, Mr. Cook, for baseball and football. I'm not sure why you do it in this game, but
Rivera, by the way, 1 for 3 now that I've had a drink. He is singled and struck out. Opening 27 for Brewer, 94 pitches, 6 innings, 9 hits, a walk and 4 strikeouts. So, Mr. Wise, I don't know the result when I hit the pitch button. It's as mystery to me as it is to you. Pitch to Rivera to start the 7th, fly ball right field. Jensen moving over. Is that going to hook out a play? Yes, it is. And this time the peanut vendor made the catch. 2-2.
that would be too obvious using for 53. As for Joe Willie, Matt says, You got to remember that he threw the ball down the field and not the dink and dunk. Yeah. Conversation kind of started with, I mean, we all grew up, and Matt, you would agree, I think, with this, that stats in 1935 for baseball were as equal weight and value as 1975 or 1955 or 1985. And that's just not true. It is just not true. Rivera 1 for 3. Nobody on. That's popped up. Left side, Williams. Oh, Button will have it. Don's there. 1 out. Why would you do that if you can't see the result? The roll rings with you. Well, I suppose if you were to pull out like an app or something like that, you would just put in the result like you would in Digital Diamond, now version 13. Nellie Fox 1 for 3. Nelson's got a single and a run scored. Right back to the mound. Brewer over to Vernon for the out, 2 away. 2 out for Minoso. Minnie has singled, doubled, drove home those 2 big runs in the 5th. A stolen base and a walk. I think it comes down to, look, we spend a couple hours a week doing this in a game that really takes about 25 to 30 minutes to play. We're at 56-18. It's all about embellishment, Todd. Pitch to Minoso. Minnie swings past Goodman into center field. And Minnie's had himself a day. He's 3 for 3. 10th hit for the White Sox. Brings up Larry Doby, who is 0 for 3. They throw to pick off Minoso, and Minnie is back. The graphics are very good for this one, John. Pitch to Doby. Up the middle. Brewer snares it. Throws to Vernon, and Doby is retired. We played 7. No runs, a hit, and no errors. After 7, White Sox 3, Boston 1. With a football game, no other game allows you to do that. That plays as an independent game. Billy Goodman 1 for 2. He has singled, driven in a run. Wilson 27 batters, 113 pitches, 7 innings. Remember, the computer's running Chicago because we're playing the Red Sox. 7 innings, 5 hits. He's walked 2 and struck out 2. Yeah, I think everyone has a different sweet spot. Goodness, my throat's a mess today. And and again, generally, Matt, it's around the time that you're 14 years old. Which for you would be 50s, 60s. Nothing wrong with that at all. I do see a wife's cough drop. I'm going to grab that. Hold on. Hold on. Never mind, I dropped it. I knew I was going to do that. John says it's the 70s and 80s for him. Goodman 1 for 2 with a single and RBI. Billy swings into right center field. Doby goes back, makes the catch. 1 out. Klaus 0 for 2 with a walk. Ground ball to second. Fox is there over to Philly for the out. John, if you're new to the channel, 77 to 93 would be the sweet spot for me. Ted Williams 0 for 3. Grounded into a double play. So I'd be curious to see how you'd implement that for football. The stat keeper would all be there. But the thing is, much like Strat and Replay, you have to own the season to do that.
Ted's 0 for 3. Ground ball to Fox. It looks like his hitting streak is going to be over as the throw to Philly is in time, and that will do it. 7.5 in the books. No runs, no hits, and no errors. White Sox 3, Red Sox 1. So Philly, Lawler, and Hatfield to face Brewer. Dave is 2 for 3. He has singled twice and scored a run.
Ron likes the seasons that Bob Stanley participated in. You know, I could ban you, but you'd be absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Has nothing to do with Bob Stanley. Brewer, probably his last inning, but if the Red Sox don't score 2 in the ninth, it's their last inning anyway. Philly swings into center field. Pearsall going back. Jimmy will make the catch, 1 away. For Lawler, Sherm is 1 for 3, a double and an RBI. Bob pitched well in '88 when we did that last year. We won't talk about the World Series, but the thing with Stanley, and I've mentioned this before, is that he would have made a much better back end of the rotation starter. He could eat innings, which is what you want out of a 4 or 5 starter. He just was never a closer or a fireman, and that's what the Red Sox insisted on using him. Sean's new to the channel. Pitch to Lawler is a fly ball to left. Crowd likes it. Williams turns and watches it go. So Lawler hits his 4th of the year, and it's 4-1 White Sox. On a beautiful night here in Chicago, the wind didn't help, didn't hurt. Ted started after it, but that one ended up in the bleachers out there
in the bottom deck. Just played your 6-3-41 replay game, Pirates and Braves. Braves up 7-5, Paul says, going to the top of the ninth. Lost it 13-7 in 11. Joey D.
It hit straight back on. Hatfield 1 for 3. He has singled and struck out. Scotty was doing that in OOTP. How far did you get there, D. Scott? Pitched a lot. Oh, that's a replay. Move the mouse, Ron.
Okay.
So 4-1. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Hatfield swings, ground ball to third. Klaus has it over to Vernon for the out.
Why do games go extra innings when you need to do something else?
It's how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? Aparicio 0 for 3 with a strikeout. It is the greatest lie in gaming. Oh, just one more quick game. I just want to get this one in. I want to go to bed at a decent hour. 3 hours later. Aparicio swings, ground ball over the mound. Goodman's got it over to first, and Louis is retired. We go to the ninth. The big run, the home run from Lawler, his 4th of the replay, and after 8, 4-1 Chicago.
Matt says 392 licks. John says the problem I have with the 50s and 60s and before the limited use of players is the limited use of players of color. That's why the NL had it over the AL in those late 50s and early 60s.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You look at teams like Cincinnati and such. So let's see, Vernon or Wilson face Vernon, Jensen, and Pearsall here in the ninth. Jim is supposedly tired.
Mickey Vernon is 0 for 3.
That is popped up left side and out of play. Vernon was trying to wave it fair, but that was well hooked. So 3 to tie, 4 to go ahead for Boston in a 2-2 count. There is a ground ball to Fox over to Philly, 1 away. So Cubbies and Dodgers tomorrow for you at noon, and that will do it. It's appointment week for me. Jackie Jensen 2 for 3, doubled and tripled in this one, and got stranded both times. Not that I'm bitter or anything. Pitch to Jackie is a base hit. He just needed a home run for the cycle. Hatfield should have had it. A sixth hit for Boston, and 3 of them are Jensen's. Pearsall is 0 for 2. He is walked and struck out. 1 away. We'll throw to first. Oh, Jensen was an 88? Let's hit and run. I'm accused never doing that. Aparicio can't get Jensen at second. Throws to Philly, 2 out. So for the third time in the ballgame, Jackie Jensen's in scoring position. This time it's Pete Daly. He is 0 for 3. Struck him out, and the ball game's over. He chased a 1-2, and Chicago beats Boston by the score of 4-1. In 2 hours and 26 fake minutes, 4 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the 52-37 first place Chicago White Sox. They leave on 7. The Red Sox fall to 49-43. Why is it called the Windy City? Would it have something to do with Mayor Daley? A run on 6 hits for Boston and no errors. And they leave on 6. That's as close to politics as I'm ever going to get. Jim Wilson is going to be, well, he's not going to be the MVP. They'll go to Minnie Minoso, who is 3 for 3 with 2 RBI. Wilson, 9 innings, 6 hits, a run that was earned. He walked 2 and struck out 3. Was tired after 120 and threw 144 pitches. Tom Brewer falls to 9-9. 8 innings, 11 hits, 4 runs all earned. The home run to Lawler. He walked 1 and struck out 4. John says Chicago was called the Windy City because they eat too many beans. Minnie Minoso, 3 for 3, 2 RBI. That big double in the 5th won the ball game. And so Minoso is your Digital Dice MVP. So for the moment, the White Sox are a game and a half out in front. The rest of this Friday night, June 27th in baseball. Erskine, a 3-hitter, shuts out the Cubs. 3-0 to go 12-2. Kaiser 2-9. Jackson 2 for 3 with a triple. The Tigers beat the Nationals 7-4. Gromick 5-5. Weisler 6-10. Boone. Ray Boone 2 for 3 hits his 19th, drives in 2. Giants beat the Cardinals 3-2 at the Polo Grounds. McCall 4-1. Schmidt falls to 4-7. Del Greco kicks a field goal, goes 2 for 3, hits his 3rd. Milwaukee gains no ground, but they don't lose any ground. They beat the Phillies at Connie Mack 9-3. Lou Burnett goes to 7-8. Rogovin 2-10. Henry Aaron 3 for 5, hits his 13th and drives in 2. Pirates commit 4 errors but beat Cincinnati anyway 4-3. Munger 7-5. Fowler 8-8. Gus Bell 2 for 4, hits his 18th, drives in 2. Cleveland behind early win beats Baltimore 3-1. Early a 14-game winner. Now Schmitz. If you're out of Schmitz, you're out of beer. Tinker to Everest a chance 1 for 3, hits his first home run. The Yankees beat Kansas City 10-6. Cux goes to 11-7. McMahon 2-2, and Moose Scourin 3 for 5, a triple and a double. Tomorrow, it'll be Hughes and Sal the Barber Magley for you. And that will be the last scheduled live stream of the week. So look at Milwaukee. They would be in first place in the American League. It would be a dogfight. But they're 10 games behind the Dodgers. Until tomorrow, I'm Ron Chuckett. Thank you. Windy politicians. Yep, you can see a lot of AL games. 90 degrees tomorrow, absolutely. All right, we'll see you at noontime. Have yourself a great day, everybody. So long.